I have found is that you don't need money. What you need is a deal. Um, because as you said, Adam, money follows deals. And so if you can become good at finding a deal, the money will come.
Welcome to the 10-Minute Mogul podcast. I'm Adam Zucker alongside my incredible wife.
I'm Randy Zucker, and we're here to revolutionize your real estate investing journey.
We built our success from the ground up through determination, courage, massive action. We created a portfolio of motels, multifamily properties, and renovated over 100 homes.
We understand the challenges other investors face and know firsthand how tough it can be to pivot in the real estate game and reach that next level. That's why we developed a powerful method to help you prioritize your time, maximize your life, and build legacy wealth.
Let's spend 10 minutes together to change your life.
Welcome to the 10-Minute Mogul podcast. I'm your host, Randy Zucker, joined by my husband,
Adam Zucker.
We're joined by Johnny Jepson today. He's our creative finance guy.
In an undisclosed location.
So one of the biggest myths is that you need money to get started, right? Johnny's here to basically share that you don't need money. You just got to get started. The deal, the money follows the deal, right? So just if you can walk someone through that strategy, maybe how you got started, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So I have a lot of people that I talk with, and they're new investors. And the biggest objection is, I would love to do real estate, but I don't have any money, or I don't have access to money. And so this stops them from taking action. What I have found is that you don't need money. What you need is a deal. Because as you said, Adam, money follows deals. And so if you can become good at finding a deal, the money will come. There's tons of money out there that's available for any investor. There's a lot of people with money that don't have a deal. And so if you can come up with a deal, the money will follow that.
Can you share with us how to find one of those deals? I know you mentioned to like landscapers, pool guys. I mean, anyone that you come in contact with.
Yeah, you basically, to start with, you would just tell everybody that you buy real estate. Just tell everybody, and then I would also say just start making offers. It costs nothing to make an offer, and so if you find somebody that wants to sell, just start making an offer and get those reps in. It's like working out. You don't get good at it unless you put the reps in, and so there's a lot of sophisticated investors that have big lead funnels. You don't need to have a sophisticated lead funnel to start with. I would actually argue that you don't need a sophisticated lead funnel at all. What you need to do is become good at recognizing when you see a deal. And then in conjunction with that, learn how to structure deals, because there are some properties that when you first look at them, they're not a deal in a traditional sense. If you're getting traditional financing and you're buying it in a traditional way, it's not a deal. The numbers don't work. But if we can change the terms of how we're buying that property, then we can often make a deal out of a property that another traditional investor would not see as a deal. So there's some magic in how we structure things.
Yeah, do you want to just go through how you can get creative and how you can structure a deal? I mean, there's hundreds of different ways. Just pick one that maybe come from a seller with strength. You could do a seller finance versus like a subject to, maybe one of each. One from weakness, one from strength.
Sure. So I always tell people the best way to find a deal is to look for the big D's, death, divorce, default. There's something that's putting pressure in someone's life. And we're not looking for that because we want to take advantage of that misfortune in their life. We're looking at that because we want to help them. And if you can look at, if you're coming from the standpoint of the seller has a problem, there's some pressure in their life. we figure out what that problem is and how do we help them solve that problem. And oftentimes, in the process of solving that problem, we're making money as well. And so, my view, and I'm a little different than some investors, um, I view a real estate transaction as me helping someone. That's what I'm doing. I'm helping them. I'm not taking advantage of them. I'm not squeezing them for more money. I'm figuring out what it is they're trying to accomplish and then getting them that thing that they're wanting. And that works on both sides. If there's pressure in their life, or if they're just wanting to sell for whatever reason because they're getting old and they don't want the property anymore, or they need to move, um, or they're looking to get into a different asset class. Uh, any of those things, the basic premise is, what is the seller wanting? Every seller's placing an order. And so once you figure out what that order is, you can fill that order. It's really quite simple.
So, do you have certain templates in place, being like, oh, this person's going through a divorce, they probably want my XYZ. This person is, behind on their payments, they want my, ABC package. Do you have certain kind of
Mm.
frameworks?
So there are, the short answer is yes, but it's a little more nuanced than that, because every situation is unique. But what we find is there are certain strategies that we use over and over and over again. Um, Seller financing, subject to lease options, options in general are a very powerful tool. Um, Discount sale, leaseback, buybacks. There's there's these, there's only a handful of tools that we have available to us. The magic comes when we stack those tools, when we use multiple tools per transaction. And so if you can learn the basics of transacting real estate, then you can kind of move on to more advanced stuff, which is stacking the tools or deal structure. And and so there's not exactly a template. I mean, if we're doing a sub two, I have sub two paperwork, and I'm like, okay, this is a sub two. But oftentimes it's not just a sub two. Oftentimes it's a sub two plus something else. Um, and so that's really where the magic happens. It's not just using one strategy, but using multiple strategies stacked.
What's a sub two?
So sub two would be buying a property subject to the existing financing. So let's take a residence, for instance. If you were to buy a house, the homeowner that is selling has a mortgage in place. If I bought a house subject to the existing financing, the house would go into my name or the name of the entity that I was buying it in, but the financing would actually stay in their name with their bank. But I would leave that financing in place and I would just pay their mortgage. So house goes in my name, financing goes in their name, thereby limiting my risk because I'm actually not on the hook for the mortgage. Um, Now, I'm in no way suggesting that you don't pay the mortgage because that would be dishonest. Uh, but that's a basic sub two deal. Mortgage stays in place, but the house transfers to your entity's name.
Now, can you just give an example of the other side, like the seller finance, someone that doesn't want to maybe sell it because they have a large tax implication if they were to sell?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So anytime you sell an investment property, you have the potential of creating a large taxable event. Um, so anything above your basis, you're going to pay capital gains, you're going to recapture depreciation, you're going to pay Medicare, and state taxes. So that's going to be somewhere in between 20 and 35% of the net profits that you make above your basis. Your basis being what you paid for it originally, uh, plus the cost of any capex that you would have done to the property. So if you have let's just use an example of an older owner that's owned a property for 20 years. Let's say it's a commercial property. It's a $4 million commercial property. They paid $1 million for it. They've owned it for 20 years, and they're selling it for $4 million. So round numbers, they're going to have a $3 million profit. they might not want to write Uncle Sam a check for $1 million, because if they're at a 30% rate on that sale, they're going to write Uncle Sam a $1 million check. And I don't care what side of the political aisle you sit on, we could probably all agree that we don't want to write Uncle Sam a check. Everybody seems to not like to do that. So I want to buy this building. And so I go to the owner and I say, hey, what if you gave me an option to purchase the building and then I master leased it from you? Well, what does that do for the owner? Well, that option considerations are not taxed until I perform on the option. So if I could give him a $300,000 option consideration fee, and he would not be taxed on it at this point in time. So that's tax-free money to him. And then the ongoing master lease payments would be taxed at passive income rates, which is much lower than recapturing depreciation and paying capital gains. So that essentially kicks the tax can down the road, allows them to put some cash in their pocket and get ongoing cash flow at a much lower tax rate. Now you say, well, but Johnny, you don't own the property. Well, that's fine. I have an option on the property, and if I record that option, I now legally control that property. So I'm legally in control of that property without owning it. I'm also getting cash flow from it because I'm able to, I'm master leasing it from the seller, and then I'm subletting it. So I'm gaining cash flow from it. The second, or the I guess maybe the third thing would be, if I lock in the $4 million purchase price today, but I have a 10 or a 20-year option, now I'm taking advantage of appreciation, um, because I've locked in the purchase price in today's dollars. And if we look at the time value of money, right, and then the increase in the appreciation of properties, I'm going to get a much better price on the property in 10 years or 20 years, having taken advantage of that appreciation. So real estate, I guess if you go to why do we own real estate, I would say I own real estate because of the benefits that it provides me, right? I don't really, it's not that I want to own it, it's that I want the benefits of it. And so, what if we could reap the benefits of real estate without the liability of ownership? I don't really care whose name is on the deed. That doesn't matter to me. What I care about is the benefits. And what are the benefits of owning real estate? Well, the three basic benefits are cash flow, appreciation, and depreciation. Now, there's other benefits as well, but for most folks, those are the big three. So if I could take advantage of cash flow and appreciation without owning the asset, would that be a good deal? Yeah, it'd be a great deal. I'd love that. I kind of view real estate as a field that grows crops, right? So say it's a field growing corn. I want the corn. I don't really care who owns the field. And so oftentimes we get hung up on ownership and whose name is on the deed. And you know, if that's your deal, I'd love to partner with you because you can put your name on the deed and I'll take the benefits. Um, so that's, I might look at real estate a little differently, possibly, but that's kind of my view.
If you enjoyed this episode, stay tuned for part 2 coming out in a few days.